I, 21 female, found a spy camera in my room after my stepdad put a surveillance camera in my window. Okay, so my stepdad, 36 male, installed a surveillance camera positioned outside of my window to scan our backyard while him and my mother and 2 younger brothers go camping. I couldn't go on the trip since I had work, so I was staying home to house sit and feed our animals. My stepdad recently put up new cameras outside, so I didn't see anything wrong with him positioning one outside my window. Come to find out, the very next day, I had my boyfriend stay over, and he found the surveillance camera that was ran from outside my window and into my room was being powered by one of those spy camera power blocks. For context, my relationship with my stepdad hasn't always been the best, and we tend to butt heads a lot. He said a lot of questionable things in the past that I've written off because he's my dad, and I would never think he intended to be inappropriate or harmful. He's been in my life since I was 8 years old. Of course, I'm second guessing everything now that I found this camera. It was positioned to point directly into my bedroom door from the far wall, so it has a direct view of my entire room, which I change in. I tried desperately to rationalize it and think it was maybe a mistake, like he grabbed the wrong charger box, or maybe he was just trying to look for intruders, but really there's no excuse for putting a camera in my bedroom. The camera even had an SD card in it. I'm beyond devastated. My stepdad even suggested that I invite my boyfriend over while they were gone, so I had someone here. Yeah, which is something he would never do, considering he made it clear before that he doesn't want him over when no one is home because he doesn't want us effing in his home. My boyfriend and I are going to go through the SD card to see if there's anything on it. I'm at a complete loss as how to even bring this up to my mom. I confided in my aunt and uncle since they live close by, and they've been very supportive of me having a conversation with my mom about it. This whole situation is extremely upsetting. I at least have some family to support me as I navigate this, but I don't even know how to bring this up to my mom. This is obviously going to change everything. She had my 5-year-old brother with him. My mind is racing with the consequences this is going to have on our family. Does anyone that has been in this similar situation have advice? How can I do this without causing extreme damage to the family, although that may be possible? So, update number 1. I don't want to make a whole new thread since I want to make a new update when my parents get back home on Monday, but I want to thank everyone for all the advice. I went to the police station tonight and filed a police report and turned in the spy camera with the SD card. The officer said this is a serious offense and I will likely get a call early next week from an investigator due to the severity of the situation. I'm planning on telling my mother about the police report after we have a conversation about this on Monday with my aunt and uncle present. This was the hardest thing I ever had to do, but whatever this shit is, it's ending with me. I hope I can get justice for myself and any other victims who may have been violated by him, since this will be heavily investigated, and the officer said it will likely be looked into further, such as search warrants and looking for more SD cards. I'm hanging on by a thread, but the support I have is what's keeping me going. I'm staying with my boyfriend tonight to keep me out of the house. Thanks again for all the support and love and messages, and I'll update again here soon. Okay, so update number 2, it's next morning, and once my boyfriend wakes up, we're going back to the house either to look for more secret cameras, either in the bathroom or my brother's room, so I can submit it for more evidence. I'm iffy about searching my parents' room for more information, as he likely does have a hidden camera in there to see me do it. Still on the fence about having the police officer search the house. If I do, I'll be sure to update after I'm finished and in a safe place. My aunt has offered to come and help me search. Again, thank you for everyone for the support. I'm mentally and emotionally drained, but I'll be seeking resources once all of this is said and done. Update 3, I probably won't be able to update for a few days since today is the day that I talked to my mom, but I just wanted to share the plan that I made in hopes for what happens. After talking with my aunt, uncle, boyfriend, and my cousin who is a civil lawyer, I've decided that I will speak to my mom in a separate location from my stepdad. Most likely I'll have her meet me somewhere outside of our home. I'll have my aunt with me, and this is where I'll explain everything to her. The cameras, past uncomfortable experiences I've had with my stepdad that I originally brushed off because he was my dad, video footage of him deliberately setting it up and angling it, and footage of me in my room. I'm praying she understands why I had to go to my aunt instead of her, considering she was not in town, and I was worried for her safety if I would have told her what happened. She was stuck with him and my brothers about 4 hours away for the weekend. I'm hoping with my aunt there and her being away from my stepdad that it'll prevent her from reacting out of anger and search for him and escalate the situation then and there. I hope my aunt can provide some support for myself and her. I prepared for her to go through the same processes I went, such as reasoning and denial, but with the evidence, there's no possible way that she can deny it. I'm preparing myself for the worst. I just hope that I can be strong for her and support her as all this hits her like it did me. I will not be returning home or facing him today. My boyfriend will be on standby to pick up my brothers if needed, since my aunt has offered for them to stay with them, so my mom can talk to my stepdad without them there. I'll ask my mom to meet me and, of course, not tell my stepdad about the circumstances. Maybe she can tell him she's going to the grocery store. I don't want him getting any hints that she could be meeting with me. I know I've said it a lot, but I truly do appreciate the support system I've had not only with my family, but here too. This is a nightmare, but hearing everyone's stories about this, proving it to be way too common, is what's helping me get through this and pushing me to do the right thing. Not only am I a victim in this, but my boyfriend as well, and God knows who else. The confrontation won't happen for another 7 hours, so in the meantime, I'll be reading comments and preparing myself for what comes next. Hi guys, I know a lot of people have been waiting for an update on what happened and about my safety. For the reasons that my post is becoming somewhat viral and showing up on other platforms, I don't think I can share many other details until this ball starts rolling with the police report. Just know that I'm safe, and I have been very busy the past few days with apartment hunting, working, and attempting to heal. Many of you have guessed it, but my stepdad got to my mom before I was able to, and you can assume how that's been going. I promise that once the investigation actually starts and my mom finds out about it, I'll be sharing more of what happened. I don't want to remove my post in case someone else may be going through the same thing and needs the support of you guys, as shown in my comments. I appreciate everyone rooting for me, and I'm sorry to say that my mother isn't on my side right now. I'm more so focusing on myself since the conversation and trying to make the most of the situation. On the bright side, I've been able to hang out with my cousins, and she helps keep my mind off of things. I'm doing my best and will update when it feels like the right time. Thank you guys.
I think that school camps shouldn't be a thing, and it's because there is just a certain feeling you get at a school camp that is not like, especially in Australia, it's weird. There's so many reasons. You're not used to seeing your classmates after 3:30. So the moment you're seeing them after that, it's already this eerie feeling. Like when it's 5 o'clock and you're still seeing people you're at school with, something feels off. And then on top of that, now you're seeing them in casual clothes. Seeing your classmates in casual clothes just feels so wrong. It's like, no, you're only meant to be wearing a school uniform. Like, why are you wearing tracksuit pants? Like, why does everyone always have such different shoes than you imagine them to wear? And then on top of that, seeing teachers in casual clothes, like obviously they wear casual, but seeing them in like a tracksuit, like seeing your teachers eating dinner, oh my god, camps like in primary school, like seeing my teachers eating dinner and supper, why would they always call it like a supper? Like, it just felt wrong. It's like, no, you're not supposed to be eating food. At school camps, people always fall in love for no reason. Like, I have been through it too. I remember, like, when I was in grade 5, oh my god, help. When I was in grade 5, I remember I was wearing these leopard print leggings from Supre, and I was wearing yellow Nike Mercurials, like, literally, like, indoor soccer shoes. And then this kid in grade 6 said to me, like, Annalise, like, those are sexy pants. Do you know what I look like in grade 6? I will insert a photo of me in grade 6. I don't know if he was taking the piss at me. Probably was. But I was still like, what? Like, year 7, I remember, like, getting a crush on this guy in my class for one night. It genuinely lasted, like, one night. We went to bed. Obviously, I didn't go to bed with the guy in my class. I went to bed in my cabin. And when I woke up in the morning, I was like, oh, God, ew. And, like, I just had this, like, weird realization, like, no, I don't like this kid. Like, there was just something in the air because it was 7 p.m. and I wasn't used to seeing him in casual clothes. Some shit always goes down. Oh, I actually have some... No. I'm going to tell a funny story, but I also have a sad story, but I'm not going to tell it because it was me getting bullied, so I'm not going to talk about it. But when I was a kid. But anyways, in year 9, me and Erin Renee were being little shits at camp. Like, we were just so freaking annoying, and we were doing the giant swing. So, you know, when you do the giant swing, like, someone's on it and all the students have to pull it. So me and Erin... It makes me laugh every time. We were just trying to be little rascals, and we were at the end of the rope, and we were all pulling it. But everyone was trying to pull it to put the person up. But we started the person up, and then you're supposed to drag it back slowly for the person to go down. But we started, like, pulling it back. I don't know what we were doing. We were just doing the opposite of what you're supposed to do to make it harder for everyone pulling the person up. Then at the very end, we thought, oh yeah, let's pull it back. Everyone let go. And what we didn't realize is because we were holding on, like, pulling back when they were all meant to be lowering so the person could go down. So we were pulling it back, you know, they're not going to be able to get down. Everyone else let go and walked off. We didn't realize they'd let go. Person drops down, all of a sudden the rope pulls, and we started getting dragged. I can't remember why we were getting dragged. I think, now that I think about it, I think the rope, like, attaches to everyone, like, it attaches to their body on, like, a thing. We got dragged along the whole ground on a rope, and I just remember, I feel like I could see Erin Renee's legs. I could just see spinning and dust because we were just going through sand. I just remember seeing dust flying and spinning, and I swear I saw everybody's legs, like, we were just like, we're spinning, and like, we were just like on the ground, like fucking like on the ground like a cartoon character. And then we both got up and the teacher's like, what happened? And we're like, oh, nothing, like, we were just pulling it the wrong way. And then I had like all this rope scar on my neck.
So the other day, I only went and got pulled over for drink driving, darling. Yeah, I was not drunk, but let me tell you the story of Alamori. I went for pasta with my gal, Zizi's, right? Had one drink with my pasta, okay? Completely watered down, because you know them restaurants put about 5 ice cubes in that cup. And I probably had about 2 meals of liquid, let alone alcohol, babe. Get in my car to go home. It's about 10 p.m, right? Forgot to put my headlights on, but thankfully a bus flashed me and was like, put your headlights on, so I put them on. And to set the scene, I was in Kingston. Now, I was on the one-way lane, and I wasn't familiar with where my exit was, and I realised last minute it was about 3 lanes to the right, and I was not about to miss it, because if you know how hellish Kingston is to drive in, you know that if you miss that fucking turn, you're driving around for another fucking 10 minutes. You can add that to your ETA. So, when the light turned green, I sort of sped up and went into the 3rd lane, took the exit, and I immediately noticed that there was undies behind me, and I was like, here we fucking go. They were driving behind me for like quite some time, but I just had a feeling. I was like, I'm gonna get pulled over. I was like, I just know it. I've been pulled over before. I have trauma, and it was the same fucking car. It's always a fucking black BMW with 2 fucking males in it. Do you know what I mean, babe? Anyway, they created their suspense. I turned a corner, they put the lights on, I pulled over in hopes that they would go around me, but they didn't. They pulled over for me. And they both come over to my car and they're like, do you want to get out the car, miss? And I thought to myself, not fucking really, but do I have a choice right now? So I get out and immediately he goes, oh, I can smell alcohol off you. Have you been drinking? I said, I don't think you can. I think you can smell Miss Dior. That is not alcohol coming off me. And he was like, do you want to step to the side of the pavement? I get the scene for you, by the way. There's temporary traffic lights on this road watching all of this happen because there's always a queue of traffic on the red light. And I'm wearing a mini black dress with heels. I look like a fucking slapper. Yeah, thank you. So at this point, I'm denying having the drink. They've asked me why my lights were off. They've asked me why I've swerved into the lane. I've explained my story. I've even got out my fucking phone and showed him that my maps was on. I was like, I don't know where I'm going, darling, and I'm not going around that one-way lane because one thing I do know is that I don't want to go around the lanes. He tells me that they've got suspicions that I'm drink driving and they've got to breathalyse me, and I'm like, fuck me, here we go. At this point, I think I've owned up that I've had a drink because I was going back and forth with him and I was like, all right, I had one, what you gonna do? And he was like, yeah, you should be fine, to be honest. And I was like, okay. So he gets out the machine, right, gets the nozzle out, teaches me how to do it, and I only go and don't do it. I can't do it. I've literally done it about 10 times at this point and I'm not getting it right. I'm also mortified because the whole of the traffic in the temporary lights are watching me blow into this thing looking like a fucking hooker on the side of the road. And let me tell you, darling, being breathalyzed, it's not an easy jobby, especially at 10 p.m. And I smoke. These lungs are not... I told him, I was like, I smoke fags, babe. What do you want me to do? They're not very strong. And he started threatening me. He kept threatening to arrest me. It was like failure to supply can result in an arrest. And I thought, well, Jesus, calm down. I'm not doing it on purpose, darling. I'm trying to supply you my breath. Eventually, I get it right. And then the suspense starts. There's the timer. The thing comes on. And I'm like, oh, my God, please, God, come on. And then it goes beep, beep, beep. And it says pass 5. And I literally went, yay! Can I go home now? That literally like that. And he literally must have thought I was nuts. And he goes, yeah, you can. And then I'm on my way to my car, and just to top it off for decoration, they go, oh no, you've got to take the nozzle with you. We can't touch that now. And I thought, oh, really? You fucking cheeky prick. So I take my nozzle that I blew into, put it in my bag, and went on my merry way. But Jesus God was with me that day, and I was not drunk. I was absolutely not drunk, darling. So I was a bit like, you know, you were really reaching. But I'm mortified from this. I keep having flashbacks to being on the side of the road looking like a hooker blowing into that machine. I'm mortified.
Story time of when my friend's boyfriend tried to use me to make her jealous. I was acquaintances with him first, and then he introduced me to his girl, and her and I became very close. Her and I went on a trip together, and they were not in a good place. They're of different religions, and that was really impacting their relationship. He picked us up from the airport and then took me home and took her home, and we were just like updating him about our trip, what we did, how we had so much fun. And I just thanked him for taking us because it was nice of him and I appreciated it. As soon as I get out the car, she texts me, she's like, you won't believe what he said. He was like, oh, did you not see how she was flirting with me the whole time? Boy, I just said thank you and I was nice because you took the time to pick us up and drop me off. Like, I'm not gonna be rude to you. I was like, did you feel like I was flirting? She's like, bro, no, not at all. There was no flirtation at all. I don't know what he's on. Later that night, he called me and he was asking a bunch of questions. He's like, what did you guys do on the trip? This, and that. I was like, that's between you and her. You ask her, you talk to her. Like, he's like, I'm just so conflicted. I don't know what to do. I was like, look, me and him are of the same religion, by the way. I was like, look, whenever I'm conflicted, I just pray on it. This is the prayer I do. I sent him a link to it. I'm like, just do that. And I told her the same thing. Just like, take your time, pray on it, and just like see if you think this is something that'll work. I told her all about the call and how he called me asking a bunch of questions and that he said he was conflicted and blah, blah, blah. And I told her that I told him he should pray on it and just like take time to figure out what they want. Again, this man told her that I was sending him a bunch of religious links and trying to get him to be more religious so that we could be together. Sorry, what? Like, what delulu is this? I literally sent him one link, and if any stranger on the street told me they were conflicted and they were of the same religion as me, I would send it to them. And she had the audacity to ask me, girl, is that true? I was like, is what true? Are you crazy? I literally screenshotted our entire conversation, showed her everything I sent, which our conversation was literally so tiny that it was sent in like 3 screenshots. And I was like, I'm completely transparent with you. I have no interest at all in your man. He's for you. Like, I was just giving him advice as a fellow person of the same religion. He's conflicted. I told him, okay, here's a prayer. Pray on it. The fact that she even asked me if it was true made me feel like, damn, he's really playing into her head and he's really like hyping this whole idea in her head, and it's gonna be a problem. Things like this kept coming up, so I distanced myself from him completely, had no conversations with him. If I saw him, I literally kept the conversation to a very minimal hi-bye interaction. But he was definitely getting her ahead, and things got a lot worse. Anyways, things like this kept coming up, and I was getting fed up because it was just getting ridiculous, and their relationship was getting so dramatic and so toxic. They were breaking up every other day, and it was like this whole like showdown every single time, and it was just getting too much for everyone around her, and everyone in this situation was overwhelmed by this relationship. I decided to take a step back from my friendship with her because it felt like my character was constantly put into question. Like, if she didn't know what type of person I was, and if he kept playing in her mind that I had interest in him, then honestly she didn't know me for who I was, and it was just better to remove myself from the situation. So as I started distancing myself, she obviously didn't take it the best, and she made it clear all over town that we weren't friends anymore. After that, this boy added me on Snapchat. And it literally said his name. He added me on Snapchat. So first thing I did was message her. I was like, your man is adding me on Snapchat. I don't know why. I didn't accept. Just to let you know, FYI. Because if I was in her position, I would want to know. She was like, thank you for telling me. I appreciate it. I'm like, yeah, I know you've been talking. Like, I didn't tell her this one. I'm like, I know you've been talking bad about me all over town, but that's fine. I'm still going to be loyal to you because that's what girls do. And then after, she was like, oh, like, he said it's not his Snapchat account. I'm like, okay, that's fine. At least I told you. That's all I needed to do. Anything else is up to you and your relationship. Even though it's definitely a Snapchat. Anyways, a few months pass. I don't really see either of them. And then I bump into him at a restaurant. I purposely did not get up to say hi to him because I knew this boy was going to twist the hell out of this interaction. So I stayed in my seat, and then he waved at me. I waved back, and that was it. But of course, that can't be it with him. An hour and a half later, he tells me, oh, please, are you still at the restaurant? I need your help. My car battery died and I need a jump. I told him, sorry, I'm at home. And he's like, please, my phone's at 1%. Please come by and help me. And of course, me, Mrs. Naive, I felt bad. And I was like, his phone's about to die. He needs help. He's at the restaurant, whatever. So the first thing I did is I called the girl. I was like, look, he just called me, said he needs a jump. I just want to make sure you're okay with it because my priority is you. I don't want to make an issue with you, and I want to make sure you're fine with it. She's like, yeah, no problem. Thank you. Please go. I told him that I didn't have jumper cables, and he was like, please, can you get some and come, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, I'll look, but it was late at night. To a few gas stations, couldn't find cables. I'm like, I went to a few gas stations, there's no cables. 15 minutes had passed, and yet his phone still didn't die, which was at 1%. I was like, wait, why don't you just go into the restaurant and ask people? We have friends who work there as servers, like, ask them if they have jumper cables. He's like, I can't, I'm too far away, I'm on the other side of the parking lot, blah, blah, please just come. I was like, huh? I'm like, I'll text them right now, ask them. Like, it'll be just faster if you come, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I start looking around for jumper cables. Half an hour passes, and I can't find jumper cables. So then finally, he goes into the restaurant and gets somebody to jump him. The next day, he found out that I told his girlfriend about him calling me. So he sent me a message blasting me. He was like, why would you tell her that I asked you, blah, blah, blah. I was like, he's like, we did nothing wrong. I'm like, I know, so what's the big deal? I just told her, just to let her know, because that's what I would want if I was her. And she appreciated that. It's not a big deal. I just let her know. He's like, no, you know what you were trying to do. You were trying to make her jealous because I called you and asked you for help. I was like, no, I was just letting her know as a friend because I'm loyal to her. And my loyalty lies with her, not with you, because you've made it clear plenty of times that you will talk badly about me and make shit up. I tried to help you because I'm a nice person and I would hope somebody would help me in that situation, but I just had to let her know beforehand. I blocked him after that and I sent all the chats to her so she saw everything that happened, and I told her, please don't involve me in your relationship moving forward, and I'm never gonna deal with any of this again. And she was like, I'm so sorry, I yelled at him, he shouldn't have spoke to you like that. I'm like, that's fine, I just don't want to be involved again. Later on, I found out that he twisted the story saying, oh, she was begging to come help me. She was like, oh, please, no, let me come help you. Don't worry, don't find anyone inside. I'll come help you. She just wanted to. And then she used the situation to make you jealous. Like, boy, sir, come on now. Come on now. First of all, now that I think back at it, you're a grown man and you're asking a woman to come help you jump your car? What kind of man calls a girl to come help her? Call one of your homies. Like, where I lived and the area that we're in, he had so many friends in that area. Why are you calling the girl who's not friends with your girl anymore? Why are you calling a random girl who you guys have no relationship whatsoever, no friendship? She's not even friends with your girl anymore. Why call her up? Call one of your boys. Like, what? Your car is dead, so you're gonna call a girl? Go call one of your mans. And that is our story time.
Okay guys, story time on me getting cheated on. So last Friday, like this just past Friday, we were arguing about the same thing we always argue about, that he never makes me a priority, he doesn't make time for me, he doesn't act like he wants anything to do with me or shows any interest. And he goes, I think we need a break. And I'm like in the middle of my college meeting, so I was like, I'm not doing this over the phone. First of all, we can talk about this in person. And basically I said, I don't do breaks because that's just an excuse to see other people. I said we either break up and we're done, or we talk something out and we work it out. And he was like, I love you, I still care about you, like I don't want to see you with someone else, so I want to talk it out and work it out. So I was like, okay. Then that night behind my back, he added back this girl that he used to like have feelings for, and was texting her for days behind my back. And then I found out Monday night, and all his friends were telling him not to do it. Like, Ari's so loyal to you, she unadded every guy in her phone for you, you're wasting a girl who loves you and is loyal to you on a girl who has 50,000 boys in her phone. And he added her back anyways, and he thought he could hide it from me and that I wouldn't find out. So, and I don't know why I put myself in these situations, because he's been treating me like shit for months, and I still tried to work it out with him after he cheated on me. So I added back all my guy friends that I had to unadd while we were dating, because I wasn't allowed to have any friends of the male sex. And the friends of his that told me what he did, I'm friends with them too. So I added them back, and I was FaceTiming them as a group. It was a group of all of us, and there was another girl in there. I wasn't alone with any of them, keep that in mind. So then yesterday I go to the ranch to go and have some fun. He wasn't supposed to be going because he's sick, but that whole day he was like, I want to see you. I want to hang out. Like, I miss you. And then I get to the ranch and he's there, first of all, when he told me he wasn't going to be. And he just walks right past me. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I thought we were trying to work this out again. And all of a sudden you're being a dick. Then he tells me that one of our mutual friends told him that I cheated on him. Like, I unadded absolutely every fucking guy from you. I unfollowed them all on Instagram. Like, I did everything for him. Absolutely fucking everything I could. I stayed with him even though he treated me like shit. I stayed with him after he cheated on me. And you think I'm gonna go and cheat on you back? Like, I'm sorry, just because you're that person and you're shitty enough to cheat on someone doesn't mean that I'm that person. And honestly, him thinking that I would cheat on him hurts more than the fact that he cheated on me. I even proved to him that I wasn't cheating, and he still was like... I just don't understand. Like, no matter what I do, I'm never good enough for anybody to want to do anything with me besides fuck. Like, nobody wants to tie my shoes and take me on cute sunset dates. They literally just want to have sex. Like, I'm in college. I don't have time for these stupid games. I just, like... Someone fucking tie my shoes and get on their knees and beg for me, because I'm putting in all the effort and I'm not receiving any back. I never do. I literally just get myself walked all over. Anyways, yeah, I'm also grounded now because I told my parents that I wanted to ram my car into a tree. Like, not allowing me to drive my car and go anywhere to distract myself is only going to make it worse. So, like, your girl needs a mental hospital, not to be fucking grounded. Anyways, let's hope at least my lashes look good today, because I look like a hot mess. And like all my past relationships, I was ready for them to be over before they were already done, like before we broke up. And I wasn't close with their family at all. And this one, I'm best friends with all his family, and I was not even close to being ready. And I just, like, I don't understand what I did to deserve to be treated like that, because I know I'm a good person. And why did you think it was okay to treat me like I was just a toy for you? Like, I sat there and I did your homework for you. I drove you around in circles and spent all my gas money on you. Well, you couldn't even give me the time of day, and you cared more about hanging out with your friends who... And I thought, like, maybe if I wear less clothes, that'll fix it. That'll get me the attention that I'm looking for. Like, maybe he'll actually like me that way. Because in all my past relationships, it was always like, you don't get any sort of affection if you're not, like, basically half naked. And that didn't work either. So, if anyone knows how to make me not feel also ugly and stupid, let me know. Anyways, here's the fit right now.
My wife gave birth to a black baby. We're both white. And our baby looks just like her best friend. My wife, 30, and I, 31, have been in a happy marriage for 6 years. The reason why I put happy in quotes is because it was all a lie. We have been trying for a child for 3 years now. We tried everything, calendars of her ovulation, different positions, fertility treatments, etc. When I went to the doctor, they said my sperm count was low, but it was still possible for me to have kids. It felt like we were never going to have a child of our own. I was about to give up and look into the idea of adoption when my wife surprised me. She blindfolded me and brought me to a room full of clothes. She made me pick up each piece of clothing and guess who it was for. They were all small and I was confused as hell. That's when she told me she was pregnant. I was thrilled. I bought everything we needed for the baby. I took care of her every need. All I cared about was that she was my wife, and we were finally getting a product of our love. When she gave birth, I was the one holding her hand while she screamed and pushed. I was the picture-perfect husband. When our baby boy was born, we were ecstatic. But there was something that immediately caught our attention. He had dark skin. Like, really dark skin. It's impossible for him to be ours biologically given our backgrounds. We're both European white. Our skin is so pasty that a bruise would stick out like a sore thumb. I thought we were happy that we finally got our dream of having a baby. But there's no way this baby is mine. It's all starting to make sense. Her best friend is a black man. I mean, if I look at the baby closely, I could see his nose. I confronted her and she begged me to believe me. She said there had to have been some sort of mix-up. I told her that her and her BBC can have their happy little family now. She was sobbing when I left, but I refused to look at her at all. Her and her family have been blowing my phone up, begging me to give her a chance to explain. I love her, but I can't have some black dude ruin my life forever. Turns out I'm just a jerk. After weeks of ignoring her and telling all of our friends that she was for the streets, she forced me to listen to her. We had Life 360 with each other, and I absolutely forget I had the app. She tracked me down to a nearby McDonald's and nearly dragged me away by my ear. I don't hit women, so I just let her. She brought me to her car and I literally thought she was about to unalive me or make me watch her and her little BBC action. She pulled out some paperwork and shoved it in my face. It was a paternity test. Turns out she grabbed my toothbrush and hairs and compared it to the little black baby's DNA. It was a match. I could hear Maury screaming, "You are the father," in my ears. I was so embarrassed. I started to try to apologize to her, but she just slapped me, then hugged me. It was the worst whiplash I've had in my life. She dragged me off to our house and my mom was there. It was like some sort of intervention. Turns out, I'm not completely pasty white. My mother admitted to cheating on my father years ago with some BBC dude. Turns out I'm an affair baby. My father had some suspicions for years, but when I was born, he finally stopped bugging her about it. Why? She couldn't have cheated because I was white, just like him. I think I'm sort of medical mystery. The black gene skipped a generation. I turned out white and she got away with it. When she saw that I left because of my black baby, she contacted my wife and explained. My wife is just an innocent victim to all this. Now that I think of it, me and her black best friend do have a similar nose. Maybe his father is my father? I apologized to my wife and begged on my knees for her to forgive me. She said that as long as I use my new BBC status on her, she'll take me back.